Welcome to today's video. In life, each of us walks our own path, and along the way, we sometimes encounter obstacles that shake us to our core. Today, we'll dive into the story of Jacob, a bright and talented young man who finds himself facing unexpected challenges rooted in his own character. Could it be that his pride and need to show off cost him valuable relationships and forced him to learn from failure? Join us as we follow Jacob's journey, from a place of arrogance to becoming a model of humility and gratitude. This story isn't just a personal experience of one man, it's a powerful lesson for all of us about the true value of humility in life. Get ready to immerse yourself in a wave of emotions, uncover meaningful messages, and discover new perspectives. Hit subscribe and let's begin this inspiring journey now. In a picturesque village nestled amidst vast green fields, there lived a young man named Jacob. Jacob wasn't just admired for his scholarly appearance but also for his extraordinary intelligence and talents. He was always at the top of his class, acing exams and solving the toughest questions with ease. But Jacob's abilities didn't stop in the classroom. He was also skilled in crafting intricate items from bamboo and wood, creating beautiful pieces beloved by everyone in the village. Life in the small village where Jacob lived was simple yet rich with memories. The villagers shared a close bond, like one big family. Each day, they worked together in the fields, tending to crops, and swapping stories that brought warmth and laughter. Jacob had a close-knit group of friends, Logan, Mason, and Ella. They supported one another through exams, participated in sports, and cherished moments of joy in the village's stunning natural surroundings. In their group, Logan was the quiet and thoughtful one, Mason the funny and light-hearted joker, while Ella was an intelligent girl with dreams of becoming a writer. Jacob felt immense pride being surrounded by such talented and kind-hearted friends. They often strolled through the village together, admiring the golden rice fields and watching the vibrant sunsets paint the sky. However, what Jacob cherished most was the expensive watch his father gifted him on his 18th birthday. This watch wasn't just a stunning accessory crafted from premium materials, it was equipped with modern features. Every time Jacob wore it, he felt exceptional and important. He took great pride in showing it off to his friends, recounting its origins and value, basking in their admiration. Though his friends admired him, Jacob's constant boasting about the watch sometimes rubbed them the wrong way. Unbeknownst to Jacob, his pride was beginning to strain his relationships. Yet he believed the watch gave him confidence and elevated his status in their eyes. Chapter 1 closes with Jacob standing by his window, gazing at the sunset outside while the shimmering watch glinted on his wrist. He dreamed of a bright future, but within him, the weight of success and self-imposed expectations loomed large. Jacob's story doesn't end here. Stay tuned to discover the challenges and life lessons awaiting him on his journey. Over time, Jacob's habit of boasting became a regular feature of his conversations with friends. Whenever he got the chance, he eagerly brought up the expensive watch his father had given him. Jacob often compared himself to his peers, emphasizing that the watch wasn't just a piece of jewelry, it was a symbol of success and the social status he believed he now held. In group chats, Jacob was always the first to mention his prized possession. "Check this out," he'd say, holding up his wrist. "My watch can track my heart rate, and it even has GPS. It costs more than some of the motorbikes around here." He'd laugh loudly, relishing the looks of admiration from those around him. That sense of pride surged through him like electricity, making him feel like he stood out effortlessly in any crowd. Jacob especially enjoyed showing off the watch during gatherings with friends, using it as a benchmark to compare himself to others. "I started with a simple watch, but look how far I've come," he'd say with pride. Yet, after each boastful remark, his friends' expressions grew more distant. Sometimes, Jacob overheard whispers behind his back, "All he does is brag. Doesn't he know how to be humble?" Unbeknownst to Jacob, his boasting was slowly damaging the close relationships he had spent years building. Logan, the quiet yet perceptive friend, began feeling uneasy every time Jacob brought up the watch. Mason, the jokester of the group, found himself joking less and pulling back from Jacob, bored with the repetitive and self-centered stories. And then there was Ella, the girl Jacob secretly admired. She had once looked up to Jacob for his intelligence and talents, but now she felt disheartened by his arrogance. Every time Jacob bragged, it was as if an invisible wall rose between them, separating her dreams and values from the person she once admired. One afternoon, after a week of non-stop bragging about the watch, Logan decided it was time for an honest conversation. "Jacob," Logan said calmly, "you know, nobody likes a braggart. You don't need to show off to earn people's affection." Jacob was stunned, unable to process Logan's words. He dismissed it as jealousy. "What's wrong with being proud of what I have?" Jacob asked defensively. "It's fine to be proud," Logan replied, his voice steady. "But there are things more valuable than a watch, like friendship." Logan's words cut deep, leaving Jacob in silence. For the first time, he began to reflect on his behavior, questioning whether his arrogance was harming the precious relationships he had built. Had his need for attention and praise come at the cost of genuine connections? Chapter 2 closes with Jacob standing by his window, gazing quietly outside. He looked down at the gleaming watch on his wrist, but it no longer filled him with pride. Instead, it felt like a burden, one that had left him feeling isolated. Jacob realized that the most valuable things in life couldn't be measured by material possessions but by the authenticity of human relationships and connections. This revelation marked the beginning of a new journey unfolding in Jacob's heart. On a sweltering summer morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the trees, Ms. Grace announced an upcoming competition to select students who would represent the class in the district's academic excellence contest. The room buzzed with excitement, and Jacob felt a surge of confidence mingled with anticipation. Convinced that he would easily claim the top spot, Jacob saw no need to prepare much. He was used to excelling effortlessly and believed his knowledge was more than enough to secure victory. Each time he thought about the prestigious trophy and recognition awaiting the winner, his enthusiasm soared. During recess, Jacob and his friends discussed the contest and the prize. "I'm definitely going to win," Jacob declared, grinning. "Remember my last test? I barely had to think before I nailed every question. This watch will be the perfect symbol of my victory." His friends listened and smiled, but their eyes betrayed a hint of doubt rather than admiration. Logan, ever the quiet yet insightful one, finally spoke up, "Jacob, you can't underestimate this competition. It's going to be tough. You should prepare thoroughly to avoid surprises." Jacob smirked at Logan's concern, brushing it off with a wave of his hand, confident he had nothing to worry about. As the competition drew closer, Jacob remained unbothered. The night before the contest, he stayed up late, leaving his books untouched, indulging instead in movies and video games. His mind was filled with visions of standing on the winner's podium, basking in the admiration of his peers and teachers. On the morning of the contest, Jacob woke earlier than usual, feeling relaxed and self-assured. He donned a crisp new shirt and his prized watch, which he felt was an essential part of his winning persona. As he walked to school, he couldn't stop imagining the moment of triumph, the golden trophy gleaming in his hands. His eyes sparkled with ambition and determination. The school was abuzz as students filed into the exam room, their faces tense with nerves. But Jacob felt different. He had no thoughts beyond his imminent victory. During the test, his mind wandered to how he would flaunt the trophy alongside his watch, relishing the praise and admiration he expected to receive. "When people ask how I prepared, I'll just say I didn't need to. All it took was a sharp mind and this lucky watch," Jacob thought to himself. Yet those fantasies did nothing to help him tackle the challenging questions before him. As Jacob worked through the test, he focused only on the questions he felt confident about. For the tougher ones, his mind drifted back to his daydreams. As the minutes ticked by, the questions seemed harder than he had anticipated, and his confidence began to waver. An hour into the test, Jacob grew uneasy as he glanced around and noticed his peers deeply engrossed in their work. For the first time, he realized how much effort and preparation they must have put into the competition. A fleeting sense of regret washed over him, but it was quickly dismissed by his visions of the glory he believed awaited him. Finally, the test ended. Jacob left the room with a cheerful demeanor, masking the unease brewing inside him. "I'm sure I'll win," he told himself. That day, Jacob walked out of school with the confidence of someone certain of victory. Chapter 3 closes with Jacob stepping out into the golden sunlight, his mind filled with thoughts of his impending triumph and the stories he'd share with his friends. But will that belief alone be enough to lead him to success? Only time will tell. The competition had ended, and Jacob was confident he would secure an easy victory. But when Ms. Grace announced the results, everything changed. Jacob's name was called, and he walked to the front of the class to receive his score. The room fell silent as she revealed it. Jacob had failed. Not only had he lost, but he had ranked last. It felt as though someone had squeezed the air out of his chest. Each second felt like an eternity as Jacob stood there, stunned. His world seemed to shrink, leaving only the echo of his disbelief. How could this happen, he wondered, his thoughts spinning in a whirlwind of confusion. The admiration his friends once showed was now replaced with strange glances, and murmurs of ridicule began to ripple through the room. As Jacob left the classroom, his heart was heavy with disappointment and shame. The vivid images of triumph and admiration he had envisioned were gone, replaced by a crushing sense of failure. He avoided eye contact with everyone, retreating into himself, desperate to escape their judgmental stares. When he arrived home, Jacob felt weighed down, each step heavier than the last. Walking through the door, he was met by his mother's warm smile. She had been waiting eagerly to hear how the competition went. "How did it go, Jacob?" she asked gently, her voice filled with hope. Jacob couldn't bear to meet her gaze. He simply shook his head and rushed to his room. In the solitude of his bedroom, Jacob's thoughts spiraled downward. Each memory of his mother's disappointed expression stoked the fire of self-resentment and regret. He felt he hadn't just let himself down, he had failed those who loved and believed in him. As he sat alone in his quiet room, a message lit up his phone. It was from Lucas, an old friend from elementary school. "Jacob, I heard about the results. Let's meet at the cafe tomorrow. I'd love to talk." Unsure of what Lucas could possibly say to help, but too lonely to refuse, Jacob agreed. The next day, he arrived at the cafe they used to frequent as kids. Though the familiar surroundings brought a sense of comfort, Jacob's heart was heavy with uncertainty. Lucas was already seated in a corner booth, smiling warmly as Jacob approached. "Hey, Jacob. You don't seem like yourself," Lucas began. Jacob sighed, unable to find the right words to explain how he felt. Eventually, he opened up, sharing his disappointment, his expectations, and the crushing reality of his failure. "You don't need to feel this way," Lucas said, his tone serious but kind. "We all fail sometimes. What matters is how you pick yourself up and learn from it. Bragging won't help you grow. Let this failure fuel your next steps." Jacob looked at Lucas, moved by the sincerity in his words. Deep down, he knew Lucas was right. His pride and overconfidence hadn't just hurt him, they had alienated the people around him. "I've been too arrogant and forgot the importance of preparation," Jacob admitted. "That's a valuable lesson," Lucas replied. "Start fresh. Learn from those around you, and give it your best next time." For the first time in days, Jacob felt the weight on his shoulders begin to lift. The conversation with Lucas gave him a new perspective, and he resolved not to let this setback define him. As Jacob left the cafe, he felt a flicker of hope in his heart. Failure, he realized, wasn't the end, it could be the beginning of something better. Jacob knew he could overcome this challenge, and he wouldn't forget the lessons he'd learned from his own arrogance. His next step would be to work harder and grow stronger. Chapter 4 closes with Jacob stepping out into the sunlight, filled with determination and a renewed sense of purpose. The future lay ahead, and he was ready to face it on his own terms. His journey was far from over, and new lessons awaited just around the corner. After his heartfelt conversation with Lucas, Jacob returned home deep in thought. Lucas's advice about humility and focusing on learning was like a guiding light in the darkness, helping him navigate the waves of disappointment and shame. Gradually, Jacob began to realize that boasting and arrogance had added no value to his life. Instead, it was effort and humility that truly mattered and could lead to growth. Each morning, as he woke up, Jacob reminded himself of the mistakes he had made. He resolved to change not just for himself but to honor and cherish the relationships he had taken for granted. Starting his days with positive affirmations, Jacob would think, "Today, I'll strive to learn more." When Jacob returned to school, his attitude was noticeably different. He participated in classes with a new sense of enthusiasm, diligently taking notes and actively asking questions whenever he didn't understand something. He spent time reviewing his lessons, no longer avoiding his books as he once had. With each subject, Jacob sought to uncover something interesting and valuable, expanding his understanding and curiosity. As the days passed, Jacob also began to understand why his classmates had grown distant. Determined to mend those relationships, he changed the way he interacted with others, adopting a more humble approach. During gatherings with friends, he gradually let go of his habit of boasting about his watch. Instead, he shared insights and lessons he had learned from his studies. One day, during a break, Jacob and his friends sat together in their usual spot. Jacob began talking about a book he was reading, a biography of successful individuals and the lessons they had learned in life. "I've realized that true success isn't about showing off, it's about building value from within," Jacob said, his eyes alight with newfound passion. His story captured his friends' attention, and soon, they began sharing books they were reading and what they had learned. This exchange brought Jacob closer to his friends again. He felt genuine happiness as they discussed ideas and experiences, exchanging thoughts on the inspiring books they loved. Feeling heard and respected by his friends boosted Jacob's confidence, showing him he didn't need to brag to be appreciated. Jacob also became more proactive during group study sessions, offering to help classmates who struggled. Whenever someone needed assistance, Jacob willingly took the time to explain concepts and work through problems together. Supporting his friends not only helped them but also reinforced Jacob's own understanding of the material. He found joy and fulfillment in helping others, realizing it added purpose to his life. Little by little, the change in Jacob became evident. He felt lighter, more at peace with himself. His humility and consistent effort helped him uncover his true worth and appreciate the beauty of relationships. No longer consumed by the pursuit of status or material possessions, Jacob learned to value the meaningful connections he had with others. Chapter 5 closes with Jacob sitting under a tree in the schoolyard, gazing up at the clear blue sky. His heart swelled with hope for the days ahead. Jacob knew the road forward would still have its challenges, but armed with the lessons from his recent experiences, he felt ready to reach for greater dreams and live a life rich with meaning, confidence, and humility. After his disappointing performance in the district competition, Jacob decided to set clear goals to better himself. Recognizing that education was the key to unlocking success, he began crafting a plan for his personal growth. Jacob made a promise to himself that he would never again succumb to arrogance or complacency as he had in the past. First, Jacob dedicated significant time each day to studying. He created a structured schedule with specific objectives for each subject. Starting with the basics he had struggled with, Jacob approached his studies with a seriousness he hadn't known before. As he flipped through pages of textbooks and tackled practice questions, he realized that only with the right methods and consistent effort could he truly elevate his knowledge. But Jacob didn't go it alone. He organized group study sessions with his close friends Logan, Mason, and Ella. He invited them to his home, where they exchanged ideas and supported each other. During these sessions, Jacob not only shared what he had learned but also gained fresh perspectives from his friends. These interactions not only sharpened their understanding but also deepened the bonds of friendship between them. Jacob valued his friends' input, and the study sessions were always lively and collaborative. "Let's tackle these problems together," Jacob would say with a bright smile. Helping his friends brought him joy, especially as he saw each of them making steady progress. The act of sharing knowledge not only reinforced Jacob's learning but also fostered a sense of unity within the group. One afternoon, as they worked through assignments together, Ella suddenly asked, "Jacob, do you feel different? Since the competition, I've noticed you've changed a lot." Jacob nodded, pride warming his heart at her words. "I've made a commitment to learn and stop boasting," he replied, his eyes shining with determination. The group around the table praised Jacob's growth. Mason added, "Your effort is truly admirable, Jacob. If you keep this up, I'm confident you'll excel in the next competition." Their encouragement filled Jacob with renewed motivation and joy, spurring him to push himself even further. During this time, Jacob didn't limit his focus to academics. He began exploring new interests, joining school clubs like the book club and English club. Through these extracurricular activities, Jacob discovered that they not only honed his skills but also expanded his social circle and enriched his experiences. Thanks to his unwavering dedication, Jacob's academic performance began to improve dramatically. He steadily rose to become one of the top students in his class, a transformation that filled him with a sense of pride he had never felt before. The knowledge he gained not only led to better grades but also bolstered his confidence in daily interactions and decision-making. Chapter 6 ends with Jacob standing in front of a mirror, smiling at his reflection. Gone were the feelings of anxiety and pressure that once weighed him down. Instead, Jacob saw a version of himself shaped by hard work and perseverance. He knew there was still a long road ahead, but with the support of his good friends, he would never have to face it alone on his journey of self-improvement. When the announcement of the district competition came, Jacob felt a renewed sense of purpose and excitement. This wasn't just a chance to prove himself, it was an opportunity for real growth. Knowing he had another shot, Jacob no longer felt the nervousness he once did. Instead, he was filled with determination and eager anticipation. Jacob began his preparation with a different mindset this time. Gone was the complacency that had held him back before. He now understood that preparation was the key to success. Each morning, Jacob woke up earlier than usual to study. He pored over his textbooks, reviewed past lessons, and noted areas where he needed improvement. He also explored additional resources, studying past exam questions to deepen his understanding. Jacob's dedication extended beyond solitary study. He created a detailed schedule, allotting time to review different subjects and practice problem solving. Each afternoon, he invited a group of classmates to his home for study sessions and collaborative work. The combination of individual effort and group learning not only strengthened Jacob's grasp of the material but also allowed his friends to improve alongside him, mending the friendships he had strained in the past. Throughout this journey, Jacob's confidence grew as he saw his own progress. Questions that had once stumped him now seemed manageable, even easy. He felt a renewed sense of direction and a deep passion for learning. But unlike before, this newfound confidence wasn't tinged with arrogance. Jacob embraced humility, sharing his knowledge with his group and valuing their perspectives in return. As the weeks passed and their preparation came to a close, Jacob realized something profound. The true reward of this experience wasn't just the prospect of winning, but the growth he had achieved through hard work and the bonds he had strengthened with his friends. The day before the competition, Jacob chose to take a break from studying. Instead, he spent the day enjoying simple pleasures, walking around the village and breathing in the fresh air. He wanted to clear his mind and approach the exam with calm and focus. The day of the competition arrived, and Jacob, along with his friends, entered the exam venue with excitement. There was a mix of enthusiasm and nerves in the air, but Jacob felt ready. Looking around, he felt the support of his friends and knew that regardless of the outcome, they had shared an incredible journey together. As Jacob sat at his desk, he felt a warmth and confidence he had never known before. There was no pressure to flaunt his success or to prove himself to others. He focused solely on the task ahead, determined to give his best effort on every question. One by one, Jacob tackled each question with calm and humility, no longer consumed by the need to win or avoid failure. He felt a quiet happiness in knowing he was doing his best, and for the first time, that was enough to make him proud. Chapter 7 closes with Jacob walking out of the exam room, his head held high, not just dreaming of success, but carrying a newfound confidence and humility. He understood that a new opportunity wasn't solely about achieving victory, it was about the invaluable lessons learned along the way. The day of the district competition had finally arrived, and Jacob felt a mix of excitement and calm confidence. His thoughts weren't solely focused on winning but on the journey of hard work and growth he had undergone. As he walked into the exam room, Jacob felt a deep sense of peace. He had prepared diligently, and now it was time to turn his efforts into results. When the exam ended, Jacob submitted his paper and left the room with a sense of relief. He knew he had done his best, and for him, the value lay not in the outcome but in the lessons learned along the way. Shortly after, the results were announced. When Jacob's name was called as the gold medalist, the hall erupted in applause and congratulations. Standing on the podium, Jacob looked down at the gleaming gold medal in his hand. This was the moment he had dreamed of, a reward for all his hard work. Yet, Jacob's joy didn't come solely from the medal. It came from the lessons he had learned about humility, perseverance, and friendship. After the ceremony, Jacob received countless congratulations from friends, teachers, and even villagers who were proud of his achievement. But what warmed his heart the most was the presence of his closest friends Logan, Mason, and Ella, who had stood by him every step of the way. Jacob didn't rush to flaunt his achievement or boast about his success. Instead, he chose to share the joy with his friends and family. When he returned home, he headed straight to the kitchen, where his mother was busy preparing dinner. She turned to him with a curious smile. "How did it go, Jacob?" "Mom, I won the gold medal in the competition," Jacob replied with a radiant smile. His mother froze for a moment, then broke into a beaming grin. "Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so proud of you, Jacob. Congratulations." That evening, the family dinner became a celebration filled with joy and stories about the competition. After dinner, Jacob shared with his mother the unforgettable moments of the competition, how he felt during the exam and how his friends had supported him throughout the preparation process. He spoke about the lessons he had learned from his peers and his own past failures. "Success isn't just about individual effort," he said. "It's about support and friendship." In the days that followed, Jacob resolved not to let this success inflate his ego. Instead, he thought about how he could use his experience to help others. Jacob began considering starting a study group in the village to assist other students in learning, practicing, and preparing for their own challenges. "To achieve what I have today, I had to prepare thoroughly, and I want to share that with others," Jacob told Logan, Mason, and Ella during a group meeting. His friends were excited about the idea and eager to help him bring it to life. Chapter 8 ends with Jacob standing among his friends, discussing plans for the new study group. His eyes shone with determination and hope. Jacob felt he had grown immensely, not just academically but in how he valued success. He understood that the greatest accomplishment wasn't the gold medal but the ability to remain humble, support others, and grow together with those around him. After winning the gold medal in the competition, Jacob felt he had grown in more ways than one. He realized that success wasn't just about achieving awards, it was about the ability to connect with and support those around him. With this newfound understanding, he decided to use his experiences to help others in his village. Jacob began by organizing group study sessions for his classmates. He shared the knowledge he had gained during his preparation and introduced effective study methods. His friends eagerly joined in, knowing Jacob's achievements stemmed from both hard work and valuable insights. "We can learn from each other and grow together," Jacob said with enthusiasm at the first group session. None of us have to face exams alone anymore because we'll prepare as a team. His words resonated with the group, easing their anxiety and fostering a sense of camaraderie. These study sessions quickly became a space where everyone could interact, present ideas, and discuss freely. Logan, Mason, Ella, and other classmates gathered regularly, exchanging tips and helping each other improve. Jacob's joy grew as he witnessed his friends making progress. The lively discussions, shared laughter, and moments of triumph as they solved problems brought them closer than ever. But Jacob didn't stop there. He extended his efforts beyond his class to the entire village. Jacob organized free weekend classes for younger children, where he not only taught academic subjects but also encouraged the development of soft skills. Jacob and his friends worked tirelessly, coming up with creative and engaging ways to make learning fun and inspiring. Ella became a regular part of these sessions, often writing captivating stories based on the lessons to motivate the kids. The children adored Jacob and his friends, not only for the knowledge they shared but also for the kindness and encouragement they offered. One day, during a class held under the shade of an ancient tree, Jacob noticed the excitement in the children's eyes. He couldn't help but smile as they eagerly answered questions, cheered on by their peers. Jacob realized he had made the right decision to help those around him, and the experience enriched his character in ways he hadn't imagined. Over time, Jacob's relationships with his friends deepened. They were no longer just classmates, they had become a second family, a community bound by mutual support and care in both academics and life. Each meeting became an opportunity to share, encourage, and overcome challenges together. To celebrate their hard work, Jacob and his friends organized a picnic for everyone. It was a beautiful Sunday, with golden sunshine and a gentle breeze. They prepared simple meals, played games, and had heartfelt conversations. These moments of togetherness didn't just create joy but also strengthened their bonds. Chapter 9 ends with an image of Jacob and his friends sitting together, laughing and sharing stories about life. Through his efforts, Jacob discovered that the greatest treasures in life are connection, friendship, and the kindness we extend to one another. He had not only rebuilt himself but had also created meaningful and lasting relationships that enriched the lives of everyone around him. Sitting on the steps of his home, Jacob gazed out at the lush green fields stretching before him. The sun was setting, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange and gold. This moment, tranquil and serene, filled Jacob with reflections on the journey he had undertaken. The transformation from a boastful young man to someone grounded in humility and gratitude had not been an easy path. Looking back on his earlier days, Jacob couldn't help but feel a tinge of embarrassment. He remembered his overconfidence, the relentless bragging about his watch and academic achievements, and how little he considered the feelings of those around him. He had learned the hard way that the price of arrogance was isolation and strained relationships. Jacob's change began with the lessons he learned through failure. The gold medal he earned wasn't just a symbol of academic success, it was the culmination of relentless effort and personal growth. He came to understand that true success and self-worth stem from perseverance, humility, and consistent hard work. Jacob had once mistakenly believed that success could be measured by material possessions, but now he realized that true value resided within one's character. He vividly recalled Lucas's wise words, "Success isn't about showing off, it's about humility and helping others." That advice became more than a passing remark, it became a guiding principle in Jacob's life. He felt fortunate to have friends who had stood by him, offering their support and encouragement through every challenge. Now, Jacob was determined never to let pride dictate his actions again. He regularly set aside time not only to continue learning but also to help those around him. Jacob recognized that his responsibility extended beyond his personal growth, it included uplifting his community and helping others achieve their potential. Looking further into his life, Jacob also discovered the profound importance of gratitude. Each day, he felt thankful for the simple joys surrounding him, the meals his mother lovingly prepared, the warmth of the sun, and the refreshing air of a quiet morning. These small yet significant details became the foundation of his happiness and inner peace. Jacob resolved to live with gratitude in every moment, to fully embrace the richness life had to offer. He vowed never to forget the lessons of his past and to carry with him the understanding that humility and gratitude were the keys to unlocking lasting happiness and meaningful success. Chapter 10 concludes with an image of Jacob walking through the fields with his closest friends. Together, they shared their dreams, aspirations, and the lessons they had learned along the way. Jacob knew he had truly grown and was ready to face new challenges, not for the sake of boasting, but for living a life of genuine purpose and value. Jacob's journey was not just a story of success, it was a lesson in character, humility, and gratitude. It was a testament to the transformative power of recognizing life's true values and the fulfillment that comes from embracing them. After all his rich experiences and valuable lessons, Jacob had become a role model for the youth in his village. With a transformed mindset and heart, he not only excelled in academics but also spread positivity and meaningful values throughout his community. Whenever he stood in front of a class or participated in local events, Jacob humbly shared his journey, the challenges he faced, and how he overcame them. He encouraged the young people around him to understand that success isn't easy, it requires effort and perseverance. Jacob emphasized that true value doesn't come from boasting about possessions or achievements but from helping others and contributing to collective growth. Jacob's life was no longer just about personal success. He had founded a study group for the village's children, a place where they could learn together, share knowledge, and support each other through their struggles. These sessions were not only educational but also helped foster bonds of trust and camaraderie between generations. Jacob realized that giving back to the community had made him an integral part of the village. He found happiness in witnessing the progress and success of those around him. The stories he shared about humility and the lessons learned from failure inspired many young people to change their mindset. Every time he saw the admiration in the eyes of the children and their dedication to learning, Jacob felt an immense sense of pride. Through his humble and positive approach to life, Jacob not only built a reputation for himself but also cultivated meaningful relationships within the community. He became a source of comfort and trust, someone people felt safe turning to for guidance and support. The values Jacob shared made him a shining example for the younger generation in the village. The conclusion delivers a powerful message about the importance of humility in life. Jacob wanted everyone to understand that self-worth doesn't come from bragging but from being authentic, helping others, and fostering genuine relationships. Finally, Jacob looked toward the future with hope and confidence. His journey was far from over, but every step he took now was grounded in gratitude, humility, and love for those around him. He knew that life would continue to present challenges, but armed with the lessons he had learned, Jacob felt prepared to face them with resilience and determination. Life is a long journey, and Jacob was ready for all the wonders it had to offer.